Welcome to the Black Men Think podcast. If this is your first time here, know that the views and opinions expressed by the Black Men Think podcast are those of the Black Men Think podcast and not the individual members. With that being said, we're about to be unapologetically, undeniably black. Enjoy.
So here we are, man. Another day.
Here we are.
Another episode of the Black Man. I'm gonna work on the beginning of this. So look, welcome to the Black Man Think podcast. We start this thing off like we always do with the question. So I just got one question.
Okay.
What if you stormed into the Capitol building? What would happen?
You mean me?
Yeah,
as,
me,
as
you,
a black man.
Yeah.
You, okay. Yeah.
People that look like
us. This is the Black Men Think
Correct.
podcast, bro. Let me pose a rhetorical question back.
Okay.
What if every person that was storming the Capitol building today looked like you and me?
I can tell you one thing that wouldn't happen.
What's that?
It wouldn't have been no selfies.
Right.
It wouldn't have been no. As a matter of fact, the security would have been on probably. I would say probably being realistic, 20 times over than what it was.
Factual. Nobody would be escorted, down the steps after breaking the glass to get in the building.
No, there would be no pictures being took.
Yeah.
And when I say, what type of, I'm talking about the pictures that we're seeing. We're seeing images of like happiness.
Oh, right. Like an enjoyment moment, right?
We seen people sitting at we seen people sitting at people's desks. We seen people in like and forgive me for not knowing what's the name of the chair, like the the main chair.
The speaker, I think, or something like
We're seeing people walk away. I'm just gonna stop.
Let's make it plain.
I'm gonna stop this.
Let's make it plain. Okay.
I'm gonna say this 1 second more. I don't want to never hear anybody say that black people be looting.
Oh, ever.
I don't want to hear it no more, bro.
Let's dead that.
Yeah, that's over with. Because I mean, unless these images are made up, which they're not, I've seen images of people literally walking out, smiling at a camera, holding federal property, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a felony, right?
Yeah.
We can have some lawyers chime in, but I don't think you can steal or anything on federal property. I don't think
I want to say it's a felony. It's definitely a crime. I want to say it's a felony to break into the Capitol building. Period.
I would think so.
Because we're talking about a highly secure government building that holds the House and the Senate. And on this particular day, government officials. And on this particular day, literally the vice president of the United States of America was sitting in that chair that you mentioned earlier that somebody decided to take a selfie or a picture in. And everybody went home. Yeah. Everybody went home. I think there might have been 16 arrests. And granted, yes, there was one death. Somebody who showed up, and I don't believe they showed up willing to die for the Proud Boys or MAGA or Trump. I don't think that was in their plans.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the plans either.
But it happened.
Yeah, definitely happened.
And I'll just say this to answer your original question. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to come home to my wife today or my kids.
No, not at all.
Let alone, I honestly question whether or not I get to see them again. And I don't mean just because I'm behind bars. I mean because I'm probably laying on the ground dead.
Yeah, I mean, and we're saying this tongue in cheek, but we're just being realistic. It's at the point now where, man, you can't act like you don't see it, right?
It's out
there is an obvious double standard when it comes to white and black people in any form of protest, any form of interaction with law enforcement. There is a double standard. And I mean, it is definitely unfortunate. Like we can't deny it. It's unfortunate. It's frustrating, and it leaves you at that place of like, damn, man, like really, like we are so far from where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? Just to see that. I mean, I'm looking on the television. I'm like, this legit looks like a movie. Like you're seeing people storm a place that does not supposed to be stormed. Like these people are riding, these terrorists, like let's call it what it is.
Call them what they are. Yeah.
The vice president of the United States had to be evacuated. So let me just make it plain and simple for people that's listening to this and watching. If anyone has to be evacuated, that means that they're the only time people are evacuated in period. Like if you look up the word evacuation, it means matter of fact, let me be factual.
Right.
Let me look this up. I'm gonna look this up and read you the definition of evacuated. And sorry, we should have did this in pre-production, but I just thought about
it. This the real moment.
We're here. Evacuation, right? So, wow, all of these. Okay, so here we go. The action. Oh, that's evacuation. Maybe I should look up evacuate. This is what happens when you don't do pre-production.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I mean, bear with us, because at the end of the day, we all trying to process what we just witnessed on January 6, 2021. Go ahead.
Here we go. So it says this. It's a verb. I'll give you all of it. It says to remove someone from a place of danger to a safer place.
Okay.
I'm going to read that again.
Okay.
It's a verb. It says to remove someone from a place of danger to a safer place.
You sound like you in your sermon, brother. Preach, Pastor.
So if the vice president of the United States, which is the second in command of the free world, right? He's number 2. If he has to be evacuated, which means removed from a place of danger to a safer place, that feels like he was worried for his life. And if you're worried for your life, I think that's an act of terrorism. I don't know how else you can put it, right? Like,
no, absolutely. And let's be very clear. You all saw it. Those of you who are listening now, and I saw it. I saw every moment of it, bro. I was working from home today, and and let's actually go back. Let's tell the full story of today. Today was a pivotal day. Today was a day of celebration. It started that way because in Georgia, where we are, in the A, in Atlanta, we saw Black people literally change the course of history in this country by turning Georgia blue. How did we do that? We voted in strong numbers, in record-breaking numbers. We 100%. More than doubled the amount of a runoff turnout, in Georgia. And we voted for Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff to replace Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. As senators for the state of Georgia. The first African-American senator and a Jewish man in Georgia. We talking about the deep South, the Confederate flag flying, hillbilly, redneck, Proud Boys, whatever they want to call themselves at any given point in the rural areas. Because if you look at the map of the voting, you see that the cities really showed up, right?
That's
shout
it.
out to Columbus,
just the major cities. That's it.
Augusta, Savannah, and Metro Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we showed up.
Macon too showed up.
Shout out to Macon. And we changed the course of history. And that was the celebration. It was live, it was happening. Warnock got elected last night. We knew that Ossoff, when we woke up this morning, that the news was bound to come, and we started celebrating. And the next thing you know, the president, you talked about number 2, right? Number 1 of the free world.
Number 1.
His name is Mr. Trump. All right. He decided to incite violence, to push the buttons that he knows that he can push with his following all of these fools that decided to congregate in Washington, D.C. as if it was going to mean something today, as if it was going to change anything. They've been following him with this ridiculousness about the voting, about, this false election fraud accusations and the whole 9 yards. We've all seen it.
Right.
And not to the degree that they just want to show up in March, but they literally tried to have a coup, bro, in Congress. They stormed the Capitol building. No. They scaled the Capitol building, bro.
Yeah.
They literally climbed the walls.
Climbed the walls. And you know what?
Let's
not use these words. Let's not use storm. Let's not use scaled.
Okay.
They broke in. Let's keep it plain and simple.
Matter of fact, say it the way they say it. They looted it.
They looted it.
They rioted.
And made terrorist threats.
Period.
That's all. That's really what happened. And we gotta, you gotta use these words and use it back on them. And one thing that I can truly say that I was super proud of, bro, and I knew that it was gonna be that way, is that it wasn't us, right? I mean, I did see. I saw one black guy in the picture, and I saw a meme. What was the meme? Like,
he's standing in the chamber.
I love how we can make fun of anything and make light of anything. What did the meme say?
My man standing in the chamber, like, I thought this was about the stimmy. You mean to tell me this wasn't about the stimmy?
It wasn't about the stimmy. Oh man,
the lone Negro standing in the chamber with all these idiot Trump supporters.
Yeah,
but there's always one.
There's always one, and you know what? It's okay. It's okay. And I love what Tamika Mallory said. It was just like, I don't want to misquote her, but she basically said, stand back and stand by.
Right.
And let them sort this out for themselves. We over here with it. You know what I mean? And no, I feel that because it put this country into a weird space where I think for maybe one of the first times that America got a chance to truly see what America thinks, right? Like, not even, when Obama got elected, that was a different thing. That was a different feeling. That made our grandparents proud, right? But today was a situation where it showed the world something different. And then the outcome, that energy forced people to do something that just simply made them look stupid. Like, I mean, call it what it is. Like, it made them look classless. It made them look just like horrible in general. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter how bad, and maybe we could take a lesson from this as like just black people in general, is like, no matter how bad it got, we didn't result to that. Because, I mean, there's no way to put it, no other way to put it, bro. Like you said, they scaled the fence. Scaled the wall.
Barricades, scaled the wall.
Went through barricades, broke windows and went into a federal secured building that housed government officials.
Right.
The most important government officials. Like, you got to understand, there's a lot of things that happen inside of that building. You know what I mean? So, of course, it wasn't the White House, so we don't feel it don't hit the exact same. Because if it was the White House, then it looks like, oh man, like it hits different. But you got to understand that that's what I mean. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like the second most important building in DC. I would think.
And low key, I'd argue the most important.
Probably,
Because at the end of the day, yes, you have the leader of the free world supposedly in the White House, but at the end of the day, like these are the people that were in that building. The officials are the people that represent the people. And it on one end, bro, it was not surprising at all.
Not at all.
We knew it was going to get crazy in DC today. I don't think anybody expected it to go to the levels that it went, but when it did go there, I'm sitting back and I'm just like, look at this. Now, what was surprising for me, the amount of time that it took to actually get a police presence and a response and to get control of the place.
Yeah,
bro.
that's
I
real.
swear I had to be watching the news for probably at least an hour 15 before there was any sign of like reinforcement showing up. I think the first unit I saw was some, unit from Maryland, some little small unit of cops. And then there was word that the FBI was coming in, and and then the National Guard was called in and so forth. And I'm sitting back and I'm just like, bro, the reality is this. It's one or two realities, right? On one end, is it really this easy to break into a federal official building that's important, that's that important in DC? And on the other end, I'm sitting back like, was this staged? Like, was this?
Yeah, bro. Like, and I hate to be the conspiracy theorist like that, but it does pose a question because it does not supposed to be that easy. But what I think it is, and I'm gonna go deeper and say it, the reason why it happened so easily is because it wasn't expected. And the reason why it wasn't expected is because the way that a certain group of people are viewed versus how we're viewed.
Yeah.
We're viewed as a threat. So if we would have been in congregation like that, it would have been an automatic thing like, oh, something bad can happen. And so let's get prepared for something bad to happen. Yeah. When they congregate like that, they don't think that something bad can happen. They think that, oh, they're just using their rights. Their rights. You know what I mean? And so that's the part that's kind of jacked up. Well, it's not even kind of jacked up. That's the part that's jacked up all the way around because I mean, we can joke about it, but we know the truth is 1,000 Black people in one place at one time gets a different reaction than 1,000 white people in one place at one time. That's not sports related. You know what I mean? Like,
and we saw that.
Reaction. Yeah,
we saw that recently. I think a few months back, probably 6 or 7 months back, where literally the National Guard was standing at the Lincoln Memorial or at other locations in DC because there was a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest happening. All of this, and at the end of the day, we know who that's attributed to. That's the racist mentality, the white supremacy leadership that America currently has. Obviously, and let me spin that too, what you just said. Like, who did expect it to go exactly how it went today? All of the Trump supporters. You know why they expected it to go the way? And what I mean by that is how easy it was for them. Yeah. Because they're white. And white people do not have to be afraid of any law enforcement whatsoever. They walk around this world on the simplest level, like driving, getting pulled over. They can say whatever they want to say to law enforcement, to the most extreme level, literally performing an insurrection. They still aren't afraid. They feel like they can walk up in a place and enjoy it and take selfies and get all in the face of law enforcement officials and push barricades and literally do it being armed and dangerous.
Think about that,
bro.
Like just really think about that. The what today really showed was really what white privilege looks like.
Actually,
like that is really what it showed. And I don't get me wrong. Like, this is a Black Man Think podcast. I don't have anything against white people. I don't want people to even think that that's what it is. But you got to understand and call a spade a spade. Today showed you exactly what it means to be privileged and white in America. The fact that you can commit several infractions of the law at one time with no repercussions. Like, I mean, and we talk about, were people arrested? Yes. But what the number of 16, 17?
Like 16 or something,
out of 1,000. So if you want to do the numbers, we're talking about less than 1%, not even 1%, like 1,000. Yeah, I mean 1.6%.
Right.
Like, just think about that.
We've seen a year of protests where people are literally getting arrested for walking down the street. Curfew or no curfew, like literally showing up, you get arrested just for being there.
Right.
We've seen cops spray crowds with rubber bullets. We've seen cops drive their cars through crowds. We've seen them push over elderly men, to the point where they get injured, or get head injuries or something like that. I mean, hey man, listen, the reality is this is a tale of two Americas, bro.
100%.
It's the tale of two Americas. There are two different experiences, if not more, happening at the same time. But but what we're seeing, what's very blatant in front of America today, more than ever, is how much BS America's actually on, how much hype America actually gives themselves, constantly calling themselves. I mean, think about how much alarm was received after this today about, people being in shock and awe, and this is not us, and this is not who we are. I mean, I heard countless times over and over and over, we're better than this. And
I went on Facebook, and I deleted my Facebook app off my phone just because, I had my own personal reason, but mainly it was because I was just getting too distracted being on Facebook. So I deleted the app. Now, if I check Facebook, I have to go on my computer and go facebook.com, whatever, and go and search. So I go on, and, I have people who I went to high school with, people I went to college with, friends. But a lot of my white friends on Facebook, there was a recurring theme, and it was exactly what you just said. Oh man, like I'm so disappointed. I cried today. This is not the America that I know. And I'm so ashamed to be an American. I can't believe that, people are doing this. And the whole time I'm reading this, I'm thinking myself, like, what the hell y'all been? Like, and it really opened my eyes to say, like, man, we truly live in two different places. Like, our experience as Black people, Black and brown people in America, is completely different.
Yeah.
And I know some white people that truly care about Black and brown people. Like, I mean, like,
Same.
Go hard,
yeah,
and really are. And I can tell you that they still understand how much privilege that they have compared to us. And like, they don't shy. I'm talking to people that I know, they don't shy away from that. They don't try to be apologetic for it. They understand that, like, hey man, I live in a very privileged situation right now. Like, there's so much stuff that I don't have to worry about. Like, for example, I have on a beanie and a hoodie.
Yeah,
tonight.
Talk about
That's
it.
what I have.
Talk about it. Yeah.
There has been times when my wife will say, I don't want you to wear that.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? And like, and while I understand why she says that, it's just me. I'm someone who's like, I'm not changing who I am because to make somebody else comfortable, because that's how you feel about, you're scared of us because of what's in your brain.
Right.
Why do I don't have to adjust to you. So why? So I mean, you don't have to adjust to me. So why do I have to adjust to you? You know what I mean? Like, and that is so frustrating, bro. And it's just a realization that we got a long way to go. I mean, we are making progress, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's going to take us to make more progress so our kids can lead the charge for some of that progress as well. But it's just amazing, bro. Like, for people to read those messages where they're like so blind to what's going on out here, bro, like in disbelief. And maybe because the images that they continue to show are images of us, and they make it seem like we're the ones that's doing all the dirt, right? Like, they make our peaceful protests look like all we're doing is going down Peachtree breaking windows. You know what I'm saying? And so when you flip that and show the other side of it, maybe it was a good thing that this happened. So it opened some of our white counterparts their eyes to know, like, no, y'all on some of it too, bro. Like, you got so that could be the good that can come out of it, if anything.
Yeah, and to see, people like Kelly Loeffler come out, on the Senate floor after this and say, I showed up here today to, debate the electoral vote, and in my conscience, I can't do that now. Bro, it lets you know, and her along with so many other, Republican leaders, it lets you know how much of a game this has been the whole time. Because let's be honest, bro, and let's just call it what it is. Like, for y'all to switch it up that fast, it was all a gimmick this morning when things were cool, when things were chipper, like this was still a game. This was still, you being controlled and or completely absolved of any intelligence / independence from Trump.
Right.
And here we are now, and these people are deciding to now speak out and now be bold and stand up as if they've been here the whole time. Bro, it's been 4 years, and then in the 11th hour, all of a sudden, y'all want to be bold. Man, look, let's get past this moment. I believe they're actually, in progress right now, about to make this vote, which is going to vote in the next president and vice president of this country. Georgia is still going to celebrate because, listen, and let's pause for a minute, because I think we have to give credit where credit is due and put a crown on the Black queens who brought us here, bruh, and who got us to this point in Georgia. Absolutely. None other than Miss Stacey Abrams herself, Miss Latasha Brown from Black Voters Matter, and so many other Black women, man, who led this charge. And enough can't be said about Black women leading, because they always lead behind the scenes. Right. They lead in the trenches. They get it done, bro. And they literally galvanize an entire state of Black people who were not used to voting.
100%.
And got them all to the polls and changed the course of history because of it.
Definitely. Now, if we're being honest and very transparent on this podcast, was it frustrating at times? Yes.
Absolutely.
Especially if you were somebody that was already doing your part, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so for us, we've been voting since, or at least for myself, we've been voting since college, right?
Yep.
And so for us, we already know what's up. Yeah. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. Are there gonna be people around you who say like, "Oh man, this doesn't matter"? Yes, of course, I get it. But we, as a collective, we know like, hey, we're gonna go to the polls and make that decision to vote. So right. Was it frustrating getting 3 pieces of mail a day? Yes. Was it
all
frustrating getting 10 text messages a day? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Calls? Yeah. All frustrating. I mean, I had people show up to my house. I don't know if you experienced this, but I had a gentleman show up. I'm gonna tell this story real quick. I had a gentleman show up to my door, and we're in COVID, so it's always, I answer my door, mask up, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" He was like, "Hey, don't mean to bother, just want to know, have you voted?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Well, actually, yeah. Me and my wife, we've already put in our absentee ballots, right?" He was like, "All right, cool, man. Well, look, I just want to. It's our job to come out here and make sure that you voted." He was like, "If you needed rides to the polls, we'll pay for your Uber. Yeah. If you need the stamps for your absentee ballot, I got a pocket full of stamps right now."
That's what's up. Yeah.
So it's just our job just to make sure that you're prepared and you got everything you need, so there's no excuse for you to cast your vote. And I was like, look, I appreciate that, because that's the first time I've ever experienced that in my life. Like, ever. I've never experienced getting text messages like this. Like, this never happened. And all of this is Stacey Abrams, bro. So and the team around. I don't want to
fair fight.
The team
fair
around.
action. So many groups. Yeah, so man.
It made a difference. It definitely made a difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, we have to just applaud everybody from the poll worker to the person that's knocking on the door, to the person that's sending us countless texts and phone calls, to the people that are donating so that the funding is there to do all of this. Because, I mean, this is probably the largest campaign I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And it got national attention and it got national support, financially and from, many celebrity faces and so on and so
forth.
Hollywood
definitely showed up.
Hollywood showed up, man. Shout out to Killer Mike, T.I., anybody, any and everybody who 100%. Extended their platform to make this happen. And so, and I mean, even, and hopefully we get a chance to kind of hear some of the behind the scenes stuff at some point. We got one of our homies, one of our, Black Men Think members who, has kind of been on the front lines of a lot of this in ways that we can't share. But at the end of the day, man, I think everybody just deserves a pat on the back. 100%. You, the people out there who went to the polls in Georgia, who made this happen, who were a part of this change, pat yourself on the back, man, because this is how it starts. And listen, this doesn't end here. As you can see, there are still groups of people you know, who, and let me say it like this, any and everybody rightfully has their own political view and their own political opinion, right?
100%.
But there are groups of people that don't even see us as a part of the country. They don't even treat us as if we're humanity in general. And they don't approach things as we saw today at the Capitol. They don't do things in a humane way, in a way that has ethics, in a way that has integrity. And they're willing to risk it all to preserve whatever ideology they have, no matter how wrong it is. We have to be just as bold to preserve what's right. And this, you know, I think this is the change agent era, man. And it's a beauty to live in it. It's a beauty to see it. It's exciting. You know, yes, there are threats to democracy. Yes, there are threats to Black people in general and people of color in general. But guess what, man? We were bred to fight, you know, and that's what we gonna do, you know. So yeah, bro, today is the day.
Yeah, today. I mean, today is another one of those historic moments that, you know, this is going to be in the history books, right?
Factual.
Like,
absolutely.
This is in the history books, and it's amazing because we're living it, and you know, it gives you a new respect on things as well, because, you know, as a kid growing up, we might have read about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, but we wasn't there to live it. So those stories that our parents and our grandparents told us, we're starting to feel that now, how they felt when they were telling us, you know what I mean? Because we're actually living through it. And it, you know, not to be morbid, but the story hits different when people talk about 9/11, because we know exactly where we were and we knew how that affected us when that happened. And like bringing that around to like when Barack Obama was elected president, I remember that feeling and how that happened. You know what I mean? So up to now, I mean, Georgia is legit blue, bro. I mean, I'll put it like this. For people who don't think that is significant, just think about it. There was a huge chunk of most of our lives where we didn't even worry about it because we knew that Georgia was going to be red.
That's real.
Like,
and
we
legit,
keep
it real, keep it funky. For me, there were times I didn't even vote.
Yeah, why? Because it was like, you know? I mean, bro, Georgia's red, bro. Like,
it's red.
No matter what we do, those electoral votes are gonna go to, you know, to the Republican side. So it don't matter, you know what I mean? But now, at the very least, now you can't have that same sentiment. It's
at
like,
all.
No, change happened. And what we can truly say, even if you didn't vote for the president, right? Today, we know that those votes that actually were cast is the reason why something changed. Like, forget about what happened, you know, back in November. We're talking about in January. Like, what happened is a direct effect of Black people voting. Bro, we were waiting on the cab. We were waiting on Candler Road, Gresham Road. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we were waiting on. Memorial, like, we were waiting on that to come through and tell us if John Ossoff was going to win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think about, just really think about that.
Polarizing, man. That's crazy.
Think about that. That's what we were waiting on. We were waiting on DeKalb County, bro. Like,
that's wild. And you know, keep it buck, man. Georgia is now the template. You know, we literally painted out the blueprint for the rest of the swing states, for those that are almost there, and honestly for the rest of the South. And what I hope and what I would love to see, man, is the plans that Stacey Abrams and everybody else involved put into place. I need to see that work begin in some of these other places. So even if you're listening and you're somewhere else and you're like, you know, and this time is like charging you up, man, start the conversations, find out who you need to talk to, who in 100%. Your area is doing that work, and join those efforts. And I can only believe in just knowing the strength of someone like Stacey. You know, she's probably already moving in that direction to make that fight happen elsewhere. And hopefully, man, you know, we'll see. Hopefully we get a chance to elect her as our next governor. If she does take, you know, the run, I know she would get a ton of support. But, you know, I'm proud of Georgia, man. I'm proud.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We showed up and showed out, and that's undeniable. Like, that's something that happened that we can't act like it did not happen. Like, this is a part of history. It's legit a part of history. And we made it. We made it happen. And, you know, I do say this. We as people have to learn from this. And the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, is that there's strength in numbers, right? And this is on both sides, honestly. Like, I mean, I just keep it because we got white people that listen in too. So let's be honest.
Right.
Today, we're recording this on January 6th, 2021. We usually don't date these, but this is today.
Today is the day we have to. Yeah.
Right. So we saw what strength in numbers looks like on both sides. Mm-hmm. So when we come together and vote in strength in numbers, we get the results that we want. And on the flip that, when you show up in strength in numbers, you can take over the capital. Clearly, and like I'm joking, but that is showing you that strength in numbers mean a real thing. For us, we're going to promote using strength in numbers to do something positive, right?
Right.
To get a positive outcome. But there's power in strength in numbers, man. Like, if we can come together and be on one accord, we can get a lot of things done that we probably thought that could never happen. So, you know, that's my, I guess you could say that's my black thought in a sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, just we got to get on one accord and come together. And you know, the one thing about coming together is this: we ain't got to always agree. We don't have to agree on the little side. We don't have to agree on point C, D, E, F, and G. Yeah. So let's agree on point A and B. Like let the thesis statement. Let's agree on the thesis statement. Everything that's down here in the other part of it. Like, we don't have to agree on all that, but this top, let's agree on that and get together and make sure we can figure out how to make this thing better, bro. Because we've shown that we can do it. We definitely can do it.
Yeah, and I'll say this last thing, man. For me, you know, this is the Black Men Think podcast, but to anybody out there who is not Black and you're finding yourself on the right side of history, you're standing for justice, you're standing for truth, you're standing with the people that are oppressed. Thank you for being a part of history. You know, if you're in Georgia and you were a part of the change agent that took place here, thank you. You know, and we appreciate you. You know, we obviously have to say what we have to say as Black men and speak truth, and you know, tell it like it is. But I don't want to negate the fact that you stand with us. So we appreciate you.
Right. 100%. Well, look, that's it. That's the Black Men Think podcast. Make sure y'all rate and review the podcast. The subscribers are coming up. We've been getting comments. And I should have had those up. Man, I did a horrible job of pre-production.
That's today, okay. You know, there's a lot going on today. I'll give you a pass. A
lot was going on, but you know, just salute to those people that are tuning in. and we're thankful for those conversations. Also, for those that are on Clubhouse, we do have the Black Man Think group on Clubhouse where we have some of these offline discussions. So if you want to join us there, just go and search Black Man Think. You'll see us. We'll pop up. Go ahead and join the group. We have our Ask a Black Man segment that we do there every Friday. But also we'll hop on, have conversations after we record the podcast and just kind of do a little behind the scenes type talk. So if you are on that platform, join us there to get a little more. Here we get to talk to you. There we get to talk together, and that's the one thing that I am liking about that platform. Now, this is not a plug for Clubhouse, but I'm just telling you where we are if you want to have another conversation. So make sure y'all subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend to tell a friend. The only way that we grow is that we grow together. So thank y'all for listening. And we'll see y'all next week. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
The Black Men Think podcast.